All right, welcome back to another episode of Beer, Bacon, and Bros. As always, we got Alex, Chris, and Keith. Here tonight, we're going to do another breakdown of a division in NFL. It's kind of like a too soon, way too early. Kind of see what we think is going to happen in the NFC South this year. Who we think is going to win? Who we think is going to be leading the bottom of the pack, and where we think things are going to lie. But before we get into it, make sure you're liking and subscribing. It really helps us grow the channel. It helps us out a lot. And you can tell us what you think. Tell us if we're full of crap or what your favorite football team is.
I'm not. I didn't mean to break you up. Somebody literally put a shit emoji in one of the comments the other day on one of our videos, and so
Good.
I liked it.
Thank you, guys.
We're not kidding. You can literally say whatever you want.
Don't matter to us. So, looking at, like I said, we're gonna dive into the NFC South here. So, looking into last year's standings. This is last year's standings, right?
Yeah, this is last year's standings.
So last year's standings, of course, Tampa won the division. Coming in second was New Orleans. Atlanta was in third, and Carolina brought up the rear with a lovely 5-12 record. So this year, what do we think is going to happen in the NFC South? Brady's back, another year older, no Gronk. They did bring in
Kyle Rudolph.
They brought in Kyle Rudolph, and they brought in Russell Gage.
Yeah.
So they got someone to replace AB. They got someone to replace Gronk. Now Kyle Rudolph is not Gronk by any means, but Kyle Rudolph is still a pretty decent tight end, I would think. Maybe a top 15 tight end, depending on where he's playing. But yeah. So what do you guys think is going to happen this year with the NFC South?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
No, you can go ahead first.
Okay. I think I'm going to say something that surprises nobody. I'm definitely taking Tampa at the top again. I think they can pretty much cruise to the top of their division this year. I do think that their other three teams are definitely leaps and bounds away from them. I think you hit on a couple of great things. Russell Gage coming in as the wide receiver 3 for them. You always know that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are going to get hurt. I mean, they already have questionable tags. Besides
Mike Evans is always hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Evans is
Godwin's
always
coming
hurt.
in off of a leg injury too.
You know what's crazy? Mike Evans is always hurt. He's had 7 straight seasons of 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that not freaking crazy that we always talk about this guy always getting freaking hurt and he still catches 1,000 yards for the last 7 years? So, and then Julio Jones. Like, Julio doesn't even really have to play a whole lot.
I forgot
as the
that
wide
Julio
receiver
too.
4 for them. So
Julio's only going to play 3 games, so it doesn't much matter.
I mean, he'll probably play a combined 3 games worth of time just playing as wide receiver 4. But Cameron Brate, Kyle Rudolph, still have a lot of questions about their offensive line. For me, it's more honestly about their running back core this season to see what's Ronald Jones' second's gone. Leonard's going to play. Leonard will probably get hurt eventually. Is Keyshawn Vaughn and Giovanni Bernard really what they want as the backup running back? So,
well, another thing, they took a big hit to their offensive line because their center is going to be out for the season now.
Yeah.
So they took a big hit to their offensive line, but I mean, I think you can bring somebody in at center, and it's not as big as losing like a left tackle or a right tackle.
Yeah.
It's not that big, but I mean, center, as we know, is one of the most. It's one of the most
important positions.
Right. Yeah. Because the center is really the one who calls the line protections and everything. So I mean, they're the ones that are looking at the defenses. They're the ones that they're calling the protections, calling where to pull, where to slide, all that good stuff. So, so you got Tampa winning. Where's everybody else fall in?
Yeah, I've been trying to think about this since we said we were going to do this, and I'm actually going to shock the world on this. I think Atlanta finishes second. These are all going to 3 be bad teams. I want to be clear about that. They're all 3 going to be bad teams, but I really do. I think Atlanta has pieced together a decent team. Marcus Mariota is way more mobile than Matt Ryan, and so it can help hide this bad offensive line a little bit. Like, I think Jake Matthews is still a good left tackle, but
Jake Matthews is probably the best one on that.
He's the only one that you can probably name or care to think about. So I think Cordell Patterson is a unique player. I do think it's different now that they don't have Mike Davis is kind of their pound guy at the goal line, so who's going to step up and be that? Tyler Aguilar from BYU is a good name.
They have Damian Williams, which isn't a bad second running back, but I mean he's no Mike Williams, like you said. He's not
Mike Davis. Yeah.
He's not a bowling ball. He's not going to go in there and just power rush right into the end zone.
Yeah, clearly the wide receiver is the thing, right? Like, you don't have Russell Gage anymore. You don't have Julio Jones. Like, is Drake London ready to step up and be a wide receiver 1 as a rookie? They drafted him to be, so we'll see. Brian Edwards has never really lived up to his potential so far, but he's a talented receiver. We know him pretty well. Jameer Byrd, another guy that we know pretty well. Kyle Pitts, can this be the moment where Kyle Pitts kind of separates as the tight end one in fantasy, right? Is he going to start getting 12 targets a game kind of thing?
Is he going to become a Kelsey?
Yes, he's going to become a Travis Kelsey, but I also think that they did a lot of stuff, like obviously bringing back big-time names like Grady Jarrett and A.J. Terrell, on their safety. They added Casey Hayward at the other corner. So I think they've tried to beef up their defense just a little bit. Rasheed Evans is a decent linebacker. So I really actually think that the Falcons, and it may be an 8-1 or a 9-7-1 kind of season, but they find a way to finish second.
Okay. So then who's gonna? So between the Saints and the Panthers, who's gonna come
Saints
last?
3, Panthers last. I don't think that Christian McCaffrey last. I do think they get the trade that they want for Christian McCaffrey eventually. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Terrence Marshall Jr. too, another really talented young wide receiver along with Shaw Smith. But the offensive line is horrendous. Like we have to be open and honest about that. They have no tight end, whether they like it or not. They have nobody that can catch a football at tight end, and we'll see. I mean, there's some names at running back: Chuba Hubbard, Donta Foreman, both two young guys that carry good names in college, but they're no healthy Christian McCaffrey. But
Chuba did pretty well last year when Christian went down. Chuba stepped into that role, played very well. I mean, he's not a Christian McCaffrey, but he stepped into the role, was able to carry the ball, was able to carry a majority of the carries, and did pretty well. I mean, I think he still ended up with a good handful of touchdowns. So
So that's the 4 for me: Bucks, Falcons, Saints, and then Panthers.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit different than you. I'm still going to put the Patriots, the Buccaneers. I'm thinking Tom Brady back, the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm still going to put Buccaneers at number 1. I think they win the division pretty easily. I don't think. So where I differ from you is I'm gonna put the Saints at 2. I think the Saints are going to have a much better year than what people are giving them credit for. They do have. I mean, yes, their starting quarterback is Jameis Winston, but they're going to have a healthy Alvin Kamara. They got Michael Thomas coming back healthy. They got Jarvis Landry. They got Chris Olave. Who was the other guy? They got Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith. So I mean, they've got 5 really good receivers that they can stretch the field with. Jameis Winston, we know, can throw the ball all over the field. It might get picked off. It might go for a touchdown. But he has the arm strength to put the ball wherever he wants to put it.
Sure.
And behind him, you've got Andy Dalton now coming in. You've got the Red Rocket coming in to be the backup. So even if Jameis falls down, you've got a solid backup quarterback in Andy Dalton that can come in and at least maintain the flow of the game.
Yeah.
And I think their defense is not. I mean, it's not that bad. I think their defense is pretty solid. The defense is what kept them in games last year. So I really think their defense is still going to be good. They added Tyrann Mathieu. They got Marshawn Lattimore.
Demario Davis is one of the best linebackers in the league. Marcus Davenport and Cam Jordan are 2 really good.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Jordan on that weekend is still going to be a solid play. I'm going to put the Panthers at 3. I think Baker Mayfield's going to be the guy who's going to kind of put them over the hump this year. As far as
who's this sound like?
No, I'm not saying he's leading us to a Super Bowl. He's going to put them over the hump as far as the quarterback play is what we've been used to the last 2 or 3 years. Panthers have not had a good quarterback situation the last 2 to 3 years between Sam Darnold, P.J. Walker, Teddy Bridgewater. So I mean, I don't think. I think Baker Mayfield's going to come in. I think he's gonna do what he needs to do to maintain that starting position. I don't think they're gonna go back to Sam Darnold. I think the Darnold experience is over.
Yeah, I would say so.
DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrence Marshall's had a great spring training so far. I agree with you. They don't have a tight end, which is gonna hurt. Ian Thomas is a decent tight end. He's not a top 15 tight end, but he fits their system. He does what they want them to do. Their offensive line still has a bunch of question marks on it. The guy that they brought in is still the Ikem Ekwonu. Mm-hmm. He, from what I've been reading, he's not ready to start. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I mean, you drafted him 6th overall. I think you're going to have to start him, no matter if he's ready or not. You're going to have to start him, being 6th overall. I like the defense. I like Brian Burns lining up on the weak side. Derek Brown, number 1 pick last year. It should come in and do really well. Gross Matos coming back healthy on the other side, on the strong side. Shaq Thompson in the middle's always been a solid. I mean, he listed this out right now, but he's always been a solid Mike linebacker. To cover to cover the middle of the field. Dante Jackson just got a contract extension. He's been really good out of LSU. They signed Xavier Woods. They got J.C. Horn coming back. So Jeremy Chin's been a really good strong safety. So I really like what they're doing on defense. So I think they're gonna turn some heads. I think they're gonna have a much better year than last year. I think they're gonna be, like you said, around that 8-1, 9-8, somewhere in that range. But I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna push for the division win. I don't think they're gonna push for a playoff position. But they're gonna start to uptick in the right direction.
Okay.
So, and with that being said, obviously I'm putting Atlanta at last. Because, I mean, yes, Mariota is better. He can stretch the field more for them. I don't think Cordarrelle Patterson is going to be your typical running back. I think he's still kind of one of those flex players who's not going to – he's going to put up the numbers, but I don't think he's going to have as good a season this year as he had last year, because I think people are going to be more prepared for that style of offense this year. Okay. Kyle Pitts needs to step it up, and, the problem with Bryan Edwards is his health. Can he stay healthy?
Already questionable.
Yeah, he's already questionable. So, and I really think you see Desmond Ridder come week 5, 6. Desmond Ridder's going to be starting.
Desmond Ridder will start before Matt Corral will start.
Yes, I think Baker starts all year. Depending on what he does, it's gonna push Carolina's hand if they offer Baker a contract, or if they say, you know what, thanks for coming in and being the bridge guy. Go get your money somewhere else. We're gonna go to Matt Corral now. Okay. Because I stand firm by what I said a couple weeks ago when we did the draft videos, was there was not a quarterback in this year's draft class that's ready to start day one in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think every quarterback that was drafted needs at least 1 year behind someone to be able to learn the system and prepare themselves to play in the NFL.
Okay.
I'm not going to run back through and give all the reasons why. I feel like you guys kind of covered that in a little long-winded rant.
True.
Tampa Bay, of course, it's going to be a long shot. I mean, it's going to be a long distance between them and first, like for them and the team comes in second. Tampa Bay's good. Tom Brady, I mean, he's replacing a Hall of Fame tight end with potentially another Hall of Famer if the guy has
Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, if he has a fabulous end to his career.
Yeah.
I'm over exaggerating, but it's not like he's not replacing him with a nobody.
Oh yeah,
right.
So he's going to have a
it's
great
an established tight end.
It's going to be an established great tight end. They're not going to miss any steps. I don't think they really lost enough to make a difference. They're going to just continue on being number one there in the South. This is where it gets tricky though, because I feel like these next 3 teams might all be separated by a game or 2.
I can see that.
It's going to be very weird. I don't even know if that's mathematically possible on it, but it's going to be very, very tight. I do think it's going to be the Saints at second. I think even if Jameis Winston goes out there and just sucks bad enough, they know to just go ahead and pull him and get him off, because like Keith mentioned, Andy Dalton is a very respectable backup quarterback to have. Yeah. And then hell, you also have Taysom Hill. Yeah, he's a tight end this year. The kid can still sling the freaking rock. Like, the kid knows that he's going to know the playbook. So if anything, push him to shove, he can go out there and be quarterback. Their defense is looking okay. The rest of their offense looks fantastic, though. I think that's they'll be the biggest hindrance is the QB question mark.
It really
for them
is.
this year.
I mean, they don't have a tight end either, really. But the right side of their offensive line, the center, right guard, and right tackle are 3 of the best offensive. That's probably the best offensive line group for those 3 positions across the entire league.
I mean, you got Alvin Kamara, who's out there at times. Sometimes showing he's at times he's been the number 1 running back in the league.
Yeah, he's inhuman at times.
Yeah. I mean, their offense isn't lacking. Defense is, I'm not going to say in a bad spot, but it's just one of those where it's going to go one way or the other. I'm not well versed enough on the players on the defense to tell you which way I think it's going to go. So that's going to be kind of interesting how that plays out. I do think in third, though, will be Carolina. I think there's a lot of the intangibles going into what this season means for Baker Mayfield. I think it's going to push him in the right direction. We've seen, from college to the NFL, like I said this in one of the previous videos, when Baker's mad at somebody, he plays pretty damn well. And he's pretty mad.
When the pressure's on, he usually steps it up.
It goes back when he was in Oklahoma yelling at the sideline to like suck his dick and like going out and just dropping bombs, like just backing up the shit talk, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big year for him, and it's a big year for the coach as well. Matt Rule's on the hot seat like hard this year. So.
And it's also a big thing for like I think this year, honestly, I would make it to where Christian McCaffrey's also on the hot seat for if I was the Panthers too, where. Like, dude, this year you've got to stay healthy and produce because, if it's another injury that you miss half the season, I'm not paying you to play half the season at this point, you know?
And quite honestly, Carolina fans are in the same boat.
They're starting to get aggravated.
They're in the same boat, too. You draft him, he had a great year, you pay him, and he doesn't play.
I really do think you see Christian McCaffrey get moved in the first 5 weeks of the season. Like, I think that Carolina's willing to move him, and I think it's for enough draft picks, and I think the big thing with Christian McCaffrey is, like, Carolina wants to move him before.
When is the trade deadline?
Oh, their trade deadline is, like, week
10 or 12,
9.
I think.
Yeah, actually, they moved it back because they moved to 17. So.
Yeah, it's between, like, 10 and 12, somewhere there.
Okay,
yeah,
so plenty of time.
Late, yeah.
It might be one of those things to where Christian McCaffrey comes into like the trainer, hey man, you got any Tylenol? And the trainer picks up the phone, trade his ass, get it now,
I was gonna
today.
You don't have to worry about the Panthers waiting to the trade deadline on Christian McCaffrey because he wouldn't be healthy at the trade deadline.
No. If they were going to do it this year, they're going to do it like you said, week 5 at the latest.
If he's on the move, Saquon Barkley's.
And it's one of those things I hate it too. He's genuinely talented, just God-given talent, but just it's that little ticker in Madden injury that it just maxed out for this kid. Where it's like, the wind blows in from the northwest corner. He might go down with a handy.
Stubbed his toe.
And like you said, J.C. Horn's healthy. I think the defense is going to look okay. I think it's going to be enough to get you to third place.
They've built that defense through the draft the last 2 years. They've really harped on the defense. The first year that Matt Rule was there, he did nothing but draft defense.
J.C. Horn today did a little video. Basically, he's lined up to the ball throwers like way over there. Basically, he's lined up like he's guarding a guy on the sidelines. He turns to the left to the sideline, runs down, and then he turns back to look at the ball that's being thrown. That's basically they just yell ball. And he turns and looks, and he just jumps up and one hand snags it out in the air and just comes down with it. It's like he wasn't really guarding anybody. It was a really cool drill that I saw. I've never seen that before. But the fact that previously injured J.C. Horn is going out there doing this jump, turn, one hand snag, and just looking like he's floating in the air, just kind of okay, that's a big confidence booster for the Panthers defense.
They're taking it slow with him to kind of ease him back in, but I feel by the time the season rolls around in a month, he's going to be back up to full speed and out there doing what he needs to do.
And then the Falcons, I have no faith in them. No faith in them, man. For years, it's like what I said about Matthew Stafford at the Lions. I think they genuinely wasted all the talent they had with Matt Ryan when they had it.
Yeah. How many
you
games
can't go out there and lose games because the other team scored 50-something points. And your quarterback put up 51 and you lost by 50, you lost to 55. It's not Matt Ryan, it wasn't the offense, it was just the defense, and I don't think they did anything to make their defense any better.
How many games did we watch last year, Bubba's, where Atlanta had a 15, 20-point lead, but they'll blow it, and they ended up losing every single time?
Yeah.
Every single game.
Just don't have faith in that defense, man.
Who was it? Dallas? They had Dallas? No, it wasn't Dallas. Yeah, it was the New Orleans game. They were up, and they came back, and they won that one. But there was one of those games somewhere in there. Washington, they were up. Tampa, they were up.
There's only 2 games in there that I see where they lost with less than 20 points being scored. One game, actually. Only one game that they lose that the winning team scored less than 20 points. It's just not good. You can't go out there and lose to Dallas 43-3 at week 10.
Yeah.
And get shut out by New England.
Yeah.
New England
can't be doing stuff like that.
With no receivers either.
No
receivers, and they get shut out by.
It's no better than the Steelers, but they only beat Detroit Lions in week 16 by 4 points, 20-16. I mean, the Steelers tied with them, so I got no room to talk. But I mean, that's just shitty. It's just you can't. The inconsistency there too is just wild. I just have no faith in the Falcons. Big question mark. I don't know. Marcus Mariota hasn't really shown me much since like I call it his sophomore year in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
That's thinking of right there.
I just think they're going to be fourth. Panthers third. Saints second.
Bucks
And
first.
then Bucks first.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. It might be a close race for third and fourth, but it could be a close race for second and third. I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Bucks are going to be out there, and then it's going to be Carolina's going to be in the middle. They're either going to be fighting for third or fighting for second. And I really hope they're fighting for second. Yeah, a little hometown favoritism for them.
Sure, absolutely. All right, well, let us know in the comments who you think will win the NFC South. And as always, we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe.